Over 60 and Clueless. 7 things men always see in you when dating. At 68, Elizabeth never imagined she'd be starting over. After 42 years of marriage and 3 years of quiet widowhood, the thought of dating again felt not just daunting, but almost impossible. Who would want someone my age, she wondered, staring at the fine lines that now mapped her face. Then came that unexpected conversation with her friend Michael, a 72-year-old who had recently remarried after losing his wife. "Elizabeth," he said with gentle certainty, "you have absolutely no idea what truly attracts men our age. And it has nothing to do with trying to look younger." Elizabeth isn't alone in her hesitation. With over 20 million single Americans now over 65, a silent revolution of senior romance is unfolding across the country. Many are discovering that the dating landscape has changed dramatically, but so have the rules of attraction. Through conversations with hundreds of couples who found love in their golden years, we've uncovered 7 remarkable qualities that men consistently notice in women over 60. These surprising insights have transformed countless love stories, including Elizabeth. "I spent months trying to hide my age," Elizabeth confesses, using creams, coloring my hair, even considering procedures I couldn't afford. "But when I finally embraced what Michael told me about these 7 qualities, everything changed. Within 6 months I met Richard, and now we're planning our wedding." What makes these qualities so powerful is that they capitalize on the wisdom and experience that come only with age, advantages that younger women simply don't possess. Rather than fighting time, the women who find love after 60 have learned to leverage it. Before we reveal these 7 transformative insights, I'm curious, have you or someone you love faced the challenge of dating later in life? The journey ahead might be easier than you think. Now, let's explore the first and perhaps most surprising quality that men notice: authentic self-care. The magnetic quality men can't resist. When men notice a woman in her 60s or beyond, they're drawn first to something powerful yet often overlooked: how she honors herself through genuine self-care. Forget expensive anti-aging serums or trying to mimic the energy of someone decades younger. What truly captivates is a woman's relationship with her own well-being. Consider Diane's revelation at 71. After her divorce, she spent thousands on cosmetic treatments, convinced they were her ticket back to romance. "I was exhausted trying to be 50 again," she confesses. "I was hiding my reading glasses, lying about needing afternoon rests, and it was all so draining." Everything changed during a community theater production where she met William, 74. "He later told me he first noticed me during rehearsal breaks," Diane smiles. "While everyone else was glued to their phones, I was doing gentle stretches for my back, sipping my water, and completely unapologetic about wearing my supportive shoes." What attracts men isn't perfection, it's authenticity. Nearly 8 out of 10 couples who find love after 65 report that self-respect was the initial quality that sparked interest. This isn't about running marathons or following rigid regimens. It's about making thoughtful choices that honor your actual needs. Take Carol, who joined a water aerobics class after her hip replacement. "I was self-conscious about my surgical scar and slower movements," she recalls. "But that class is where I met Edward, who says he was impressed by my commitment to moving forward rather than dwelling on limitation." Men consistently notice when a woman embraces her reality with grace. Whether it's scheduling regular health screenings without embarrassment, choosing foods that nourish rather than deplete, or getting proper rest without apology, these choices reflect a deeper self-respect that's magnetic at any age. "I realize my body has carried me through 7 decades, says Diane. "Treating it with kindness isn't vanity, it's wisdom." William adds with a smile, "That wisdom is incredibly sexy." What self-care practice brings you the most joy? Your answer reveals more about your attractiveness than any beauty product ever could. The power of genuine listening. What men find irresistible. In today's world of constant notifications and endless distractions, the ability to truly listen has become one of the rarest and most cherished gifts, especially among men over. What many women don't realize is that genuine listening ability ranks higher on men's attraction scale than virtually any physical attribute. Judith discovered this truth in the most unexpected way. At 67, she had become increasingly self-conscious about her hearing loss. "I was avoiding social gatherings," she admits. I worried that constantly asking people to repeat themselves made me seem old or uninteresting. Then came the community book club meeting that changed everything. Despite her anxiety, Judith attended and found herself seated next to Charles, a distinguished 70-year-old who had recently moved to town. I was completely focused on not missing anything, Judith recalls. I leaned in slightly, watched his expressions, and asked thoughtful questions about his perspective on the book. I wasn't trying to impress him, I was genuinely interested. 3 months later, on their 5th date, Charles revealed why he had asked for her number. Everyone else was waiting for their turn to speak, he explained. You were the only one truly listening. Do you know how rare that is? That kind of attention makes a man feel valued in ways nothing else can. Remarkably, over 70% of men over 65 rank attentive listening as one of the top 3 qualities they seek in a partner. This isn't about hearing every word perfectly. It's about creating a space where someone feels understood at the deepest level. Susan, who found love at 73, shares her secret. I've learned to listen with my whole self, my eyes, my posture, my expressions. When my hearing fails me, my attention never does. What makes this quality truly precious is how it deepens with age. While younger people often listen to respond, mature women have learned to listen to understand, a distinction that men notice immediately and value immensely. Have you ever felt the powerful connection that forms when someone truly listens to you? That's exactly what men are searching for. How you treat others, the character test men never miss. When it comes to qualities that captivate men over 60, how a woman treats others stands as the ultimate window into her soul. This silent character assessment happens everywhere, from restaurant interactions to family gatherings, and it reveals more than any conversation ever could. Vivian learned this truth at 74 after being single for 8 years following her husband's passing. I'd been on a dozen coffee dates that went nowhere, she confesses. I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong until Martin told me the exact moment he decided to ask me out. They had both attended the same community fundraiser. While others networked with potential donors, Martin noticed how Vivian paused to help a flustered teenage volunteer who had dropped an entire tray of name tags. She didn't just pick up a few tags, Martin recalls. She got down on her knees despite her arthritis, made a game of sorting them, and had that nervous young man laughing within minutes. I knew then that this was someone with extraordinary kindness. An astonishing 85% of men over 65 rank how a woman treats others as the defining quality they seek in a partner, far outranking physical appearance, financial stability, or shared interests. This becomes even more critical with age, as character flaws tend to amplify, not diminish, over time. Janet's relationship with her adult children caught Richard's attention at their senior center's holiday gathering. She spoke about her daughter's career choices with such genuine pride, he shares, even though they were completely different from the path Janet had hoped for. That respect for her daughter's autonomy told me everything about the kind of partner she would be. The truth is, men are watching how you handle the small moments. Your patience with the slow cashier, your tone with the forgetful waiter, your response to being interrupted. These seemingly insignificant interactions form a complete picture of your character. At our age, Vivian smiles, we've learned that kindness is the only true measure of a person. Everything else fades, but how you treat others, especially those who can do nothing for you, that reveals exactly who you are. What everyday interaction might be your invisible audition for love. Body language and presence. The silent conversation that speaks volumes. Long before a single word is exchanged, your body tells a story that men over 60 read with remarkable clarity. But here's what most women miss. It's not about hiding your age or limitations. It's about the quiet confidence that comes from embracing exactly who you are right now. Evelyn's story perfectly illustrates this truth. At 76, with noticeable tremors from Parkinson's disease, she hesitated to attend her high school's 60th reunion. I was terrified of being pitied, she admits. These people remembered me as the girl who won dance competitions. She went anyway, choosing a vibrant blue dress and walking into that ballroom with her head high, making no attempt to hide her trembling hands. By evening's end, she had 3 dinner invitations, including one from George. a former football star she'd admired from afar decades ago. Your presence was magnetic, he later told her. While others were hunched over their phones or shuffling around apologetically, you moved with such dignity. Your eyes met mine directly, your shoulders were back, and your smile was genuine. How could I not notice? The numbers are striking. Over 75% of meaningful connections after 65 begin through nonverbal cues, long before conversation deepens. This isn't about perfect posture or graceful movement. It's about occupying your space with purpose and authenticity. Consider Nancy, who uses supplemental oxygen. Rather than hiding her portable tank, she decorated it with artwork she painted herself. I decided to own my situation completely, she explains. At my book club, men weren't repelled by my equipment. They were drawn to my comfort with myself. What men consistently notice isn't how perfectly you move, but how completely you accept yourself. Simple adjustments make profound differences. Maintaining eye contact instead of looking down, sitting comfortably without fidgeting or apologizing, and using deliberate, unhurried movements. I finally understood, Evelyn shares, that my body isn't betraying me, it's telling my story. And at our age, an authentic story is far more captivating than a perfect performance. What might change if you embraced your body exactly as it is today? Voice and tone. The sonic signature that captures hearts. Of all the qualities men notice in women over 60, the tone and cadence of your voice carries a seductive power that many women completely overlook. While society fixates on visual appeal, there's a profound truth hiding in plain sight. A mature woman's voice often becomes the invisible bridge to deep emotional connection. Harriet discovered this by accident at 72. After smoking for nearly 40 years, her voice had developed a distinctive huskiness that she considered one of her greatest flaws. I was self-conscious every time I opened my mouth, she confesses. I thought I sounded like I had a permanent cold. During a volunteer reading program at her local library, she noticed a gentleman who kept returning each week, always choosing a seat directly across from her. After the third session, he finally introduced himself as Kenneth, a retired English professor. Your voice, he told her with unabashed admiration, creates pictures in the air. I close my eyes and can see every character, every scene. It's like warm brandy on a winter evening. Nearly 70% of men over 65 report finding a mature woman's voice more appealing than younger, higher-pitched voices. What they're responding to isn't perfection. It's the emotional resonance that comes only with decades of lived experience. Claire, who developed vocal cord issues at 69, worried her slightly raspy voice would repel potential partners. The opposite occurred. My current husband says my voice was the first thing he noticed. She smiles. He tells me it sounds like I've lived a full life, that there's wisdom in every word. The magic isn't in having a perfect voice, it's in how you use it. Speaking slightly more slowly, adding warmth to your tone, pausing thoughtfully between thoughts, and varying your pitch creates a vocal presence that men find mesmerizing. I've learned to embrace my voice as it is now, Harriet shares. The very qualities I was hiding, the deeper register, the occasional catch, the measured pace, are precisely what Kenneth found irresistible. When was the last time you truly listened to your own voice? Its music might be more captivating than you know. 6. Enthusiasm for life. The magnetic force that defies age. Of all the qualities that attract men to women over 60, passion for life might be the most irresistible magnetic force. Despite what beauty companies want you to believe, nothing, absolutely nothing, is more attractive than a woman who isn't merely existing, but vibrantly living. Meet Stella, a 79-year-old grandmother who lost her husband of 52 years to cancer. For months, I just went through the motions, she recalls. Then one day, I decided to stop waiting for life to feel good again and start creating moments that did. She began small, signing up for a pottery class at her local community center. My arthritis made it difficult, she laughs. My first pieces looked like they were made by a kindergartner, but her joy in the process was undeniable. It was there, hands covered in clay, that she met Arthur, 82, a retired engineer trying something creative for the first time. I was drawn to her before we even spoke. Arthur confesses. While everyone else was frustratedly trying to make perfect bowls, Stella was laughing at her lopsided creations. Her enthusiasm was like stepping into sunshine after months of rain. The statistics are remarkable. Seniors who maintain passionate interests are nearly 4 times more likely to develop meaningful relationships than those who don't. What's fascinating is that this enthusiasm doesn't require physical prowess or financial resources. Lucille, 74, living on a modest pension, turned her tiny apartment balcony into a hummingbird haven with homemade feeders. It costs almost nothing, she explains, but brings me endless delight. It was this simple joy that her neighbor Raymond noticed from his window, eventually leading to their Sunday morning coffee ritual and later marriage. Over 75% of successful relationships after 65 begin through shared enthusiasm for something, anything from bird watching to book discussions to volunteering. What matters isn't the activity itself, but the authentic joy it generates. Men are drawn to my energy, not my appearance, Stella reflects. When I talk about pottery or my grandchildren, or even a good book, something lights up inside me. That light is what Arthur responded to, not the gray hair or wrinkles. What makes your eyes light up? That glow might be your most powerful attraction. 7. Personal energy, the invisible force that draws men closer. The final quality men notice in women over 60 might be the most elusive yet powerful, your personal energy. While beauty fades and circumstances change, the emotional atmosphere you create becomes the deciding factor in whether men are drawn toward or away from your world. Meet Georgia, who at 75 survived a devastating stroke that left her with partial paralysis on her left side. For the first year I was consumed by bitterness, she admits. Every mirror reflected what I'd lost, and that negativity repelled everyone around me. Her transformation began not with physical healing, but with an emotional awakening. I couldn't change my circumstances, she explains, but I could absolutely change how I responded to them. It was at her granddaughter's piano recital that Georgia first met Lawrence, 78, a retired musician. Despite never having spoken, he approached her afterward. When she asked what prompted him, his answer stunned her. "You were the only person in that room who looked genuinely present," he told her. "While everyone else was checking phones or looking bored, your face showed complete appreciation." That kind of peaceful attention is extraordinarily rare. Over 80% of lasting relationships formed after 65 begin with this invisible attraction to someone's emotional presence. Men consistently report being drawn to women who have mastered their emotional landscape, not by denying difficulties, but by facing them with grace. Consider Irene, who lost both her home and savings to a financial scam at 69. "I could have collapsed into victimhood," she reflects. "Instead, I chose to rebuild with dignity." Her resilience created an aura of quiet strength that her now husband, Victor, found irresistible. The most attractive energy isn't about perpetual happiness. It's about emotional authenticity paired with wisdom. Men notice when a woman can acknowledge pain without being defined by it, express joy without dependency, and navigate life's challenges without becoming bitter. "My physical mobility is limited," Georgia shares with a gentle smile, "but my spirit has never been more free." That's the part of me Lawrence fell in love with. The part age can only enhance, never diminish. What energy are you bringing into rooms you enter? The answer might change your entire relationship future. Conclusion: your golden years could be your most romantic yet. These 7 qualities: authentic self-care, genuine listening, gracious treatment of others, confident presence, warm voice, life enthusiasm, and positive energy, weave together to create an irresistible tapestry that men find far more attractive than any attempt to recapture youth. Remember Elizabeth from our opening story. After 6 months of trying to look younger and failing to connect with anyone, she finally embraced her authentic self. Today, at 70, she and Richard have been married for nearly 2 years. "I wasted so much time hiding who I'd become," Elizabeth reflects, sitting in their sunlit garden. "The moment I started honoring these 7 qualities instead of fighting my age, everything shifted." Richard says he notices new things to admire about me every day. Richard, now 74, nods in agreement. Women don't realize that men our age aren't looking for perfection. We're looking for authentic connection. The cosmetic counter can't sell that. Their story isn't unique. Among couples who find love after 65, over 85% report that these emotional and character qualities, not physical attributes, were the foundation of their initial attraction and remain the bedrock of their lasting bond. What's particularly encouraging is that unlike youthful appearance, these 7 qualities actually strengthen with age. Every challenge you've weathered, every loss you've survived, every joy you've celebrated has equipped you with precisely the wisdom that makes these qualities shine brighter. Dating in my 60s was nothing like dating in my 20s. Elizabeth smiles. It's infinitely better. Now I know exactly who I am and what matters. That confidence is apparently quite attractive. Your life experience isn't a liability in the romance department. It's your greatest asset. The richness of your story, the depth of your character, and the authenticity of your presence are gifts that only time could give you. Are you ready to stop hiding your age and start leveraging the magnetic qualities you've spent a lifetime developing? Your most romantic chapter might be just beginning.